On July 7, 2026, in a county building in Virginia, 95 residents took turns at a microphone. The hearing ran 5 hours. Then the supervisors voted 8-0, rejected. The plan: 43 million square feet of data centers on nearly 2,000 acres of farmland, next door to the world's largest data center market. That vote is not unusual anymore, and that is what makes it worth watching. For 3 years, the limits on artificial intelligence were supply problems. Not enough chips, then not enough power. Those still bite. But for a growing number of large projects, the binding constraint is local acceptance, a room full of neighbors saying no. Here is the claim. A local no does not necessarily stop a data center. It delays it and often redirects it off the public grid, out of the county, sometimes out of the country, sometimes over the heads of the people who voted. A smaller claim than it sounds, and the one I can defend. On July 18, 2026, Reuters reported that opponents held 142 protests across 42 states, the first coordinated national push against the AI build-out. Texas had the most, with 18 events. Georgia had 11, and it crosses party lines. In a June Reuters Schacht Ipsos poll, 2/3 of Democrats and half of Republicans said they'd oppose one nearby. Data Center Watch, a private tracker, counts the groups organizing against data centers. 396 at the end of 2025, 833 by March 2026, across 49 states. Over that quarter, it attributes at least 75 blocked or delayed projects worth about $130 billion to local opposition. Not a government statistic, but a public, ongoing tracker of organized opposition. To build a large AI data center, you need 4 things: chips, power, capital, and somewhere that will accept it. The first 3 are markets: pay more, get more. The 4th is a vote. And money does not clear a vote, so why do the votes keep landing the same way? Look at where the objections come from. An AI data center serves the whole country. The people beside it carry whatever it does to the street. The same concerns come up at hearing after hearing. The electricity bill, first, new demand pulling on the same wires, then water in counties already short of it, then noise, a low hum from the cooling, then trucks and property values, which people say out loud last and think about first. Not every project produces all of that. Every project gets asked about it. That list is real. It is also incomplete. Data centers pay taxes, enormous ones. And the county that worked that out first sits next door to the one that just voted no. Loudoun County, Virginia, said yes early and kept saying yes. Data centers now occupy about 4% of its commercial land and pay 38% of its general fund. That is a school system funded by server racks. But Loudoun expanded before the backlash when the trade-offs were less visible. Prince William was asked in 2026 with Loudoun in plain view. So the offer is not a bad one, it is just no longer obviously good, and counties have learned they can negotiate. Which brings the question, when a county says no, where does the money go? It doesn't vanish. Alphabet's 2026 capital guidance is $195 to $205 billion. On July 30th, Amazon raised its own to about $220 billion. Those are annual budgets. The block projects are multi-year build-outs. You can't subtract one from the other. What they show is the scale of spending still aimed at AI infrastructure. Whether a rejected project gets built elsewhere is a project-by-project question. But developers can pursue other routes. There are 3: off the grid, above the county, or out of the country. And a 4th, a data center needs a grid connection, and that connection is where a community still holds leverage, a public hearing where the utility has to justify what it charges everyone else. In most of the country that Q runs for years, generating power on site can be faster which is why more developers are exploring it. But it is not an exit from regulation. On-site plants still need air permits and answer to regulators, as XAI's turbines in Mississippi are demonstrating. CleanView, an energy tracker that counts equipment orders and permits rather than press releases, put roughly 2 gigawatts of on-site generation running by the middle of 2026. About 1,498 megawatts of that sits at XAI's sites outside Memphis. If the count is right, one company holds most of the running capacity, and the announced pipeline is still a pipeline. Route 2 surprised me. In South Haven, Mississippi, reporting drawn from state regulator correspondence put 59 gas turbines on an XAI site. The ACP alleges that running them without air permits breaks the Clean Air Act. XAI and the state's environmental agency say no permit was required because trailer-mounted units count as temporary and mobile. That is not settled. What is on the record? On June 15, 2026, the Justice Department moved to dismiss the case, announcing it the next day, arguing the data center matters to national security. Lawyers called it a first. And on July 14, 2026, New York moved the other way. Executive Order 62 directs the state's environmental agency to hold incomplete applications for discretionary state permits to build or expand data centers of 50 megawatts or more, while the utility regulator prepares a statewide environmental framework. It does not touch local government permits, so one level of government is breaking, another is holding the door open. Route 3 is older than any of this. Build where the decision sits elsewhere. Outside Abu Dhabi, a 5 gigawatt AI campus is going up as a national program, with the government itself as a partner. No county board appears in that sentence. Whether consent is genuinely cheaper there, I can't measure and won't claim. The decision is simply taken elsewhere. Route 4 will probably decide this. Negotiate the yes. New York's order directs Empire State Development to publish a framework localities may use when negotiating community benefits, infrastructure, childcare, direct financial support. Read one of these packages, and it looks less like a one-off concession than a public negotiation over local terms. Once consent is a line item, it behaves like every other cost. A company that can wait years, staff a permitting team, and fund a community package is better positioned to win approval. A company that cannot may be shut out of some projects. So the bar rises for everybody except the firms that were already biggest. I want to be careful here. Nobody planned it. There was no meeting where the largest firms decided local democracy would make a useful filter, but it is the shape the outcome is taking. A movement aimed at big technology firms may be helping build a market only big technology firms can enter. That is a thesis, not a finding. The evidence supports something narrower. Local opposition can delay projects and redirect some of them. It does not show that every rejected project moves, that the off-grid routes are frictionless, or that smaller firms are shut out for good. Two things would weaken it: counties negotiating terms that let smaller developers build quickly and cleanly, or rejected projects being canceled outright rather than relocated. Then a no really is a stop. None of this means the votes were wrong. If your water and your electricity bill are on the table, no is a rational answer. The uncomfortable version is this: a no is often not a stop but a redirect, and the side being told no is not the side that picks where it goes. I won't ask whether your town should have this power. It should. I'm asking the harder half. What would a yes have to contain? What would a data center have to hand your county before you'd take the deal? Write the offer you'd actually accept. If there's a pattern in your answers, that tells us more than any forecast will.